It was just after midnight when he noticed something was wrong. The highway was empty, the kind of quiet you only get far outside the city. No streetlights, no other cars, just darkness and the sound of his own engine. Then he saw the headlights. They were coming from below the road. He slowed down and pulled over. As his eyes adjusted, he realized a Jeep had crashed into the ditch and flipped completely upside down. The roof was crushed flat. Broken glass glittered faintly in the dark. The wheels were still turning. The engine was still running. He grabbed his phone and called 911 as he ran down into the ditch. The ground was uneven, slick with mud and grass. The dispatcher told him help was on the way, asked him to keep his distance, but he could already hear someone breathing. The driver wasn't inside the Jeep. He'd been thrown clear of the vehicle and landed several feet away. His body was twisted unnaturally, broken in ways that made it hard to look at. Blood soaked into the dirt beneath him. The man was still alive, barely. He knelt down and held him, trying to keep him still, talking non-stop because silence felt wrong. He told him help was coming, told him to stay awake, told him he wasn't alone. The driver's eyes were open, but they didn't seem to focus on anything. Each breath came with a wet, rattling sound that grew weaker every time. The man tried to speak. His mouth moved, like he was trying to form a word, maybe a name, but nothing came out. His hand tightened weakly around the sleeve of the jacket holding him, then slowly slipped away. The breathing stopped. For a moment, everything went completely still. No voices, no movement, just the ticking sound of the Jeep's engine and the night pressing in around them. Police and paramedics arrived minutes later. They pulled him away gently and covered the body. He gave his statement, answered questions, still in shock. They asked if he recognized the driver. He said no. The injuries were too severe. The face didn't look familiar. It was just another stranger lost on a dark road. That night, he didn't sleep. The next morning, his phone rang. It was a family member. There had been an accident, a Jeep, late last night, on that same stretch of highway. His cousin hadn't survived. His stomach dropped as everything clicked into place. The location, the timing, the vehicle. Later, when he was asked to identify the body, he noticed it immediately. The watch his cousin never took off. The small scar on the hand, the same hand he had been holding in the ditch. It was him. He had held his own cousin as he died, without ever knowing. And what haunts him the most isn't the crash, or the blood, or the sound of that final breath. It's the thought that his cousin may have recognized him first, and died trying to say his name. If you enjoy real grounded horror stories, you might want to stick around. It was one of those Montana nights where the world feels swallowed by white. Snow was coming down so hard it erased the road only seconds after my headlights passed over it. Visibility was terrible, wind shaking the truck, the kind of blizzard where every mile feels earned. I was driving across McDonald Pass, taking it slow, knowing how steep and unforgiving those final miles can be. That's when I noticed the gray Toyota Tundra ahead of me. At first, I was relieved to see another vehicle. He was moving fast, faster than I was comfortable with, but steady, confident. The kind of confidence people have when they trust four-wheel drive a little too much. For most of the pass, he stayed ahead of me. But as the climb got steeper, I slowed down to around 35. The wind was brutal, and the snow had started drifting across the road in thick waves. The Tundra didn't slow. Within minutes, His taillights disappeared into the storm. I remember thinking he was either very experienced or very lucky. Less than 5 minutes later, I saw something that made my stomach drop. Fresh tire tracks cut sharply across the snow-covered road and vanished straight off the side of the mountain. I pulled over immediately. The wind hit me like a wall when I stepped out. Snow filled my mouth, my ears, my eyes. I walked to the edge and looked down. About 300 yards below, through the blowing snow, I could see it. The gray tundra, upside down, on fire. Flames flickered against the white mountainside, sending black smoke into the storm. The contrast was unreal. Orange fire burning in a world that should have been frozen silent. I called 911 with shaking hands, trying to explain where I was, what I was seeing. The operator kept me on the line, told me help was coming, told me not to go down there. I couldn't hear anything from below. No yelling, no movement, just the wind and the fire. Time felt strange standing there, like the mountain didn't care, like this had happened before and would happen again. Eventually, emergency crews arrived. They made their way down, fighting the same storm that had hidden the road in the first place. The driver survived, barely. He was pulled from the wreck badly burned, his truck destroyed, his confidence gone in a matter of seconds. Later, I found out he'd lived, but with injuries that would follow him for the rest of his life. I think about that night often, about how fast he was going, about how quickly he disappeared, about how quiet the mountain was after. And every time it snows, I remember those tire tracks, clean, sharp, and final, leading straight into nothing. Four-wheel drive doesn't make you invincible, and the mountain doesn't care what you're driving. If these real stories made you stop and think, a like lets me know.